The ship descended over Edwards Air Force Base like a silver cathedral falling from heaven. It made no sound. It cast no shadow. It simply arrived, and the world held its breath. General Marcus Webb stood on the cracked asphalt with 40 armed soldiers at his back. He was 61 years old, barrel-chested, and had survived 2 wars. He did not consider himself a man who frightened easily. But when the ramp of the alien vessel lowered and the Vreth walked out. 7 feet tall, 4-armed, their gray skin shimmering with bioluminescent patterns, he felt something cold crawl up his spine. The lead Vreth, who would later identify itself as Commander Sorrel, looked at the soldiers. It looked at their rifles. Then it made a sound. A deep, rhythmic clicking that the translation module rendered, after a moment, as laughter. "These are your warriors?" Sorrel asked through the device clipped to its collar. Its 4 black eyes moved across the line of men and women in uniform. "And those are your weapons?" Webb kept his face stone still. "They are." Sorrel turned back to its delegation and the clicking sound erupted again, louder this time. The other Vreth joined in. Their laughter was mechanical and cold, like a machine eating gravel. Inside the base, Colonel Dana Hartley spread a series of schematics across the table. She was the lead weapons analyst assigned to the delegation, sharp-eyed and methodical. The Vreth had requested a full demonstration of humanity's military capabilities before any treaty discussion could begin. It was their custom, Sorrel explained, to understand the strength of those you negotiate with. Hartley walked them through it calmly. Small arms. Artillery. Missiles. Drone systems. Sorrel listened politely and then pulled a small device from its belt. It projected a holographic display, rotating images of Vreth warships, energy cannons that could level a city block in a single pulse, personal armor that could absorb a direct tank round. "Your weapons," Sorrel said, its translation module carrying an unmistakable tone of condescension, "operate on chemical reaction. Controlled explosion. You are still, by our measure, at the level of throwing rocks. We have seen 100 civilizations at your stage. None of them posed any threat to us." Webb sat back in his chair and said nothing. Hartley said nothing either. She simply folded her hands on the table. The next morning, Sorrel and its delegation were escorted to the open testing range east of the base. Webb had arranged the demonstration himself. He stood beside Hartley as Sergeant First Class Ray Kowalski took position 300 meters downrange with a single bolt-action rifle. The target was a 3-inch steel plate at 1,000 meters. A simple shot for a trained man. Sorrel watched with polite boredom. "We have reviewed this technology in your historical records," it said. "The mechanism has not changed significantly in 2 centuries. Watch the plate," Webb said. Kowalski exhaled. Squeezed. The crack of the rifle split the morning air. The plate rang and kicked backward off its post. Sorrel tilted its head. "Yes. A small piece of metal, propelled by." "That wasn't the point," Webb said. He gestured to Hartley. Hartley stepped forward and handed Sorrel a tablet. On the screen was a single file. 60 years of weapons development that the public had never seen. Kinetic penetrators designed to defeat any known shielding technology. Electromagnetic pulse systems capable of disabling a starship's guidance at close range. Shaped charges engineered for hull breaches in pressurized environments. Anti-satellite rail systems. And one program near the bottom of the list, designated Longbow, that Hartley did not explain. She simply let Sorrel read the title. The bioluminescent patterns on Sorrel's skin shifted. For the first time, the rhythm of its breathing changed. "You developed these," Sorrel said quietly. "Not a question." "We've been developing them," Webb replied, "since the day we first looked up at the stars and understood we weren't alone." The negotiations lasted 4 days. On the 5th day, the Vreth signed. There was no more laughter. Sorrel stood across the table from General Webb, pressed its lower two hands flat against the document in the Vreth custom of binding agreement, and met his eyes for a long moment before speaking. "You are not what we expected," it said. Webb picked up a pen, a simple, chemical ink pen, and signed his name in clean, unhurried letters. "No," he said. "We never are." The ship left before sunset. The sky was quiet. The men and women on the tarmac watched it go, rifles still slung across their backs, and said nothing at all. They didn't need to.